I'm live.
For sure. Let's get it down. GMI TV, Cosmic Convos, episode number 2. I got found with me, Johnny the God. What they do, found?
Peace, peace, peace.
And we are accompanied by a very enlightened individual, Mr. Larry T. Williams. What's going on, found?
Man, everything's going on. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, found. Was very anxious to speak to you. You know what I'm saying? I've been tapping into your videos since really the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? That's where I tapped in with you from. I'm sure a lot of others as well.
Damn, that long,
Tik-
bro?
What just yeah, definitely. Like, bro, when I was going to do my research on the for the interview, I'm looking at all your 2021 views. I'm in all the likes, saved
Oh,
them all. You feel me already? You know what I'm
hell
saying?
yeah, that's
So
dope.
that was yeah. So that was very
Love
cool.
it, bro.
So I'm curious, what really prompted you to jump on TikTok? Were you on there initially before your awakening, or did your awakening bring you to the app?
So, so it's funny. So this is the way that it happened. So, I had my awakening. I want to say, what month was it? June of 2021. June of 2020.
Mm.
And so I started my TikTok October of that year, right? And so I was originally on an old Facebook that I had, and I was real popular, real tight with everybody in my community. So I was going live every day, and I was making a lot of spiritual posts because in 2020 we had something called the Great Conjunction. So Jupiter, Earth, Saturn, they all aligned, and I was on Facebook talking about that tough. And somebody was like, "Bro, put this shit on TikTok. People on there will fuck with you." So I made a video real quick. I put it on TikTok, and I fall asleep, I forget about it. I wake up in the morning and I check back and it had 115,000 views. And I was like, holy shit, that many people heard what I had to say. Like, I could really do this shit. I could really be a content creator. Now, I was cussing a lot in it because I didn't know the TikTok guidelines. So I seen it got taken down right after that. But pretty much that's what started everything. My friend telling me, yo, put this on TikTok. They'll like it on there. And then my
And what
first.
do you remember exactly what the video was about?
Yep, it was the Great Conjunction. It was Earth, Jupiter, and Saturn aligning on a Halloween, and I was talking about how don't go out, don't go party, don't go be in a low vibration. Go within yourself, really do some meditation, align your energy, and focus on what's coming, because right now we're going through a huge shift in consciousness, and a lot of people are going to start waking up, and depending on whether or not you wake up, that's going to drastically affect the circumstances or sequence of events that happen in your life, whether or not you align yourself with prosperity or misery.
So curious. Have you seen the effects of that great conjunction in the earth to this day? So you said that happened in 2020. Has there
2020.
been a change in the earth since then?
A change in the earth, man. There's been too many changes within the earth to keep track of. So the way that you have to think about it, nothing is coincidence. So when you see things like COVID happening, or these whole entire global shifts, the pandemic, all these political shifts within society that cause all this controversy, these world shaking events, excuse me, this is all a manifestation of energy shifts within the higher level of consciousness. So all of these big back and forth shifts that we're seeing, the collapse of all these systems, absolutely, absolutely. And so essentially, right, that was us moving into the age of Aquarius, right? And so us moving into the age of Aquarius symbolizes humanitarianism, enlightenment, the awakening of consciousness, and implementing new systems, so the people on earth can start experiencing abundance and love and joy. And so I've been seeing a lot of that. Like I seen it with my TikTok. I hit my first 100,000 followers that month.
Wow.
Word, word, word.
Wow. So you would say that the planets have an immediate effect on our lives?
So the type of person that I am, bro, especially coming from the hood growing up, when I talk, I don't like to turn nobody off. I don't want nobody to go, oh, this, yeah, he's crazy, or he don't know what he's talking about. So I like to keep things tangible. I can't be like, hey, what's going on with the planets has a direct effect on us right now, but on a higher level, it actually does. And to put it into perspective, right, what is the human body composed of? 99% of the materials in our body is made of stardust. What does the moon do? The gravitational force of the moon, it shifts the tides back and forth. What is our body comprised of? 75% water.
Water.
So these celestial bodies, it all has an effect on us on subconscious levels. And if you don't have that spiritual awareness, or or intuition and connection with yourself, of course, hearing some shit like a planet affects you is gonna sound crazy. But I promise you, it's been a couple months where there's been a retrograde I didn't know about. The 25th fuck around in here. I'm like, man, I've been pissed off all month. I'm having all these fights. Shit over here is happening. Shit over here is happening. And then somebody tells me, we've been in a Mercury retrograde the past 2 months. That's why.
So I see a lot of people these days, they try to make fun of the retrograde.
Right.
They due to lack of understanding from my perspective. But
Right.
how have you seen the retrograde manifest in your day-to-day life? Like, where have you seen it take place at?
So it takes place in my personal relationships. Like the past couple retrogrades, I didn't know about them initially. And so, just like how I was talking about, it came to a point where it was the end of the month. I'm sitting down reflecting and let this car pass. So it's the end of the month. I'm sitting down reflecting and I'm looking at my relationship with, oh, okay, there was a miscommunication with my mother. I got into an argument with my brother. I got into a physical fight with my friend here. I'm arguing in my relationship. What's up with all this tension? Why am I? And I'm not an emotional person. I'm not. I have control over myself. So these situations happening is symbolic of something really. There was something there that really needed to get exposed and come up, and there was a lot of explosion, a lot of fire, a lot of anger, and it wasn't necessarily hate. It was just the energy of the retrograde. And if it amplifies your emotions and brings out them subconscious knots you got tied. And so essentially all those arguments, what they do, or all those emotions, all those triggers, it shows you the subconscious patterns that you still have within yourself that you need to overcome. This is a belief that I have cemented, ingrained inside of me. This is a thought pattern, a thought process I have ingrained inside of me. And so I'm too much into my ego in this aspect of my life. When I'm talking to this person, I get triggered and I step into my ego here. So it's always an opportunity to sit back and look within yourself and figure out what you need to work on when you're getting triggered in a retrograde.
Facts. The way I simplify it and like to teach it to people is when you dissect the two words, it's retro meaning old and grade meaning a level. So old levels or old situations may come to pass again to check to see what level are you on. Are you spiritually on the level that you see yourself to be? Are you where you want to be to sharpen your skills? You know what I'm saying? All in all. So that's the way I digest it. But I wanna ask you a question on this. Let me add this
Okay.
straight. So in today's time, many people would say that the Bible demonizes knowledge of the stars. How do you conceptualize the Bible's use of astrology, and how do you think we should use the Bible today?
So when it comes to us using the Bible today, I feel like too many people take the Bible as a literal instruction guide when the Bible is more so a poetic, it's a poetic analogical metaphorical expression of psychology, of spirituality itself. And so to put that into perspective, we need to talk about the concept of religion in general. What was here first? And if you talk about, the first religion to be here 5,000 years ago, when the concept of religion was created, it was Hinduism that was first. And then the religions that followed. So when it comes to the Bible, I believe we shouldn't take it literal. And also we need to have enough critical thinking to be able to point out the hypocrisies, right? When, especially in the spiritual community, when you embody that I am awareness and you embody God and you speak it, people will say it's blasphemous for you to call yourself God. But in the Bible, Jesus himself says the body is the temple of the living God. We are all gods. God is within us. In the Bible, it says, Jesus says, I will speak this word to you. I'm going to preach this word to you, and all you guys are going to worship me in vain. I'm not your leader. I'm not your savior. Jesus said that. It's you. You're supposed to look within. And when it comes to astrology, right? I personally do not have enough knowledge about the Bible and astrology to be able to sit and do the cross referencing and make the proper connections. But what I do know is that when it comes to a lot of spiritual concepts like astrology, crystals, and things like that, the Bible mentions a lot of it. The Bible talks about crystals. The Bible talks about crystals a lot. The Bible mentions psychedelics. It mentions mushrooms. The Bible mentions all of these different tools that we use to benefit the spirit. So I feel like when it comes to using the Bible, it's a great tool. It's amazing. Religion's not a dumb thing. That's something in the spiritual community we need to wash out. But we need to we need to analyze it from a different perspective.
Interesting. You have any comments on that, Johnny? How do you feel we should use the Bible in modern day?
I feel like he hit it on the head, but I also look at it as we also got to understand the Bible is a mythology as well. So when you look at it in that way, you don't really get the conscious mind to look at it like a literal text, like the characters really existed. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do now. They try to yeah, that picture right there is perfect. Like they try to point out like these characters were like real human figures in this world when they're just symbologies or symbolic figures of entities that live inside of you. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody can tap into the Jesus consciousness. Anybody can tap into the Moses consciousness. Anybody can tap into the consciousness of Solomon if you want riches. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like everybody just got to look at it in that term. And I feel like as long as we do that, everybody will come to a solid agreement on how we need to connect with each other to elevate.
Right.
Okay, so
But
in
I do
today,
I know I did want to ask bro before I know this probably off topic with the power slot, but it's a lot of people who ask me how do we meditate or how to meditate or which steps to take or wait, I'm gonna just keep asking the question because I know he'll probably jump back in, but how do we meditate, what steps to take, how do we know if we're doing it wrong? I know a lot of people ask these questions, so I want to see how you feel about that question as well.
Okay, cool. So let's go down the rabbit hole in meditation. So the word meditate means to become familiar with. So when you're meditating, you're becoming familiar with your mind. Meditation is supposed to be a practice to pull you into the present moment, to pull you into the now, because the now is the spiritual dimension. Now is the only thing that exists. And so essentially, right, we have about 70,000 thoughts every day, and every day 95% of these thoughts are repeated. And so reality essentially, right, it's this energetic hologram. It's us being able to perceive 35 10,000ths of the light spectrum, our brain processing that information, projecting it outwards, and then all of our opinions, thoughts, all of our desires, beliefs slapped on top of that, that creates this illusion of reality. So meditation is supposed to interrupt that constant stream of conversation, that constant stream of energy running within your body. So there's many different types of meditation, and depending on what you're doing or depending on what you're meditating for, a different one's going to work for you. Now, the type of meditation I use because it works for everything is transcendental meditation. Now, meditation is suggested to, okay, people say practice it 10, 15 minutes, once in the beginning of the day, once at the end. And that's amazing because once you do that, you experience improved memory, relaxation, less stress in the body, less depression. But to reach an enlightenment or to truly enter those different states of consciousness, you really have to give meditation hours, day after day, week after week, month after month. And there's no specific formula. It can happen 45 minutes if you lock in the right way. So the way I would say to meditate, right, is to sit however you can get comfortable. Sit, lie down, and you want to make sure that you focus on your breath. Now, when I say focus on your breath, use your breath to interrupt your thoughts. So when you close your eyes and you feel your mind speaking, take your conscious awareness to your breath, your lungs expanding, your body filling up with air, your body being becoming oxygenated, and then sit with that silence, and then you release the breath over and over, and then you release the breath slowly and sit in the silence. And you do this over and over again. And as you're breathing, just focusing on your breath, that's when your thoughts arise, imagination arises, and you're going to start to get pulled into your it's like being in school, class is boring, and you start daydreaming. You're going to start daydreaming over and over in your meditation, and the daydreams are going to get a lot more intense. And it's that practice of, oh, I'm in my daydream, pulling it back to the breath over and over and over again, that removes your conscious awareness from the mind. So most people think they're not meditating the right way because they believe they're supposed to be zenned out in some sort of super spiritual quiet. No, meditation is literally being in the chaos. It's being in all of your thoughts, imaginations, your dreams, your fears, desires. It's exploring every single dimension of your mind, getting caught up in your thoughts over and over again and bringing it back to the center. Because where are these thoughts coming from? They're all coming from inside of you. So because meditate means become familiar with, you're becoming familiar with the inside of you. Now
Yeah.
you can meditate sitting, listening to some music. You can meditate in the quiet. You can meditate doing yoga and stretching. But if you really want to enter that different state of consciousness, that's going to come from the stillness. It's going to come from you sitting still and focusing on your breath. And once you relax, you let go.
Word, word. I know I tell a lot of people, when you get into the thoughts that you're doing it wrong, you don't want to think that. You don't even want to bring them thoughts in because you start programming the subconscious to believe you're doing it wrong. And that's not a good step to take. But another thing with meditation, how do you feel about people say if I vision myself inside of a vehicle? I just want a new car, so I'm trying to vision myself in a vehicle. It can be you, whatever you vision yourself doing. Do you believe in using your five senses to the heights of your mind in order to tap into that reality while you meditating?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So not even so it's not that I believe in it. I choose to say that I know that, right?
Yeah,
Because when it comes to when you look at the science of it and when you look at reality, we live in an electromagnetic matrix. So everything runs on electricity and electromagnetics, right?
yeah,
So thoughts are electric and our emotions are magnetic. We live in a quantum soup, and I know he wanted to talk about quantum physics, but it's the vibration of our thoughts and the vibration that of our emotions that are responsible for the events that we experience in our life. Our life is an illusion. This physical reality is a crystallized, solid, slow vibrating version of your thoughts. So whatever thoughts, that's the purpose of meditation and visualization or writing and scripting, is to generate the thought and generate the emotion. And if you hold it, it has to manifest. That's the law.
yeah, yeah. I remember one time, I had a mentor who taught me how to meditate, and he told me just start off by seeing an apple. He said, taste the apple, feel the apple, hear the apple, smell the apple, and see the apple. And as I was just doing that, I was really in meditation for about 20 minutes, and I literally started tasting an apple. Like it was a reality. And when it felt so real, I got out of the meditation. I opened my eyes like, yo, like it kind of shooking me up for a bit. So I definitely agree with what you're saying with that. And do you also feel like with meditation that you could connect with because me personally, I from my research, independent research, I feel like the ancestors are more so just light beings that's in the ethers. So do
Right.
you feel like while you meditate, and do you feel like deep into a meditation, like you could probably channel, let's just say Michael Jackson, or you could probably channel a relative that may pass away in your family? Do you how would you tell people to more so do that if they're trying to connect with, a relative, or just trying to get insight from somebody that transitioned over? I just want to see where your mind at with that, and how would you tell people to go tap into that source right there?
So just like you said, the ancestors, these people that we believe are gone, right? So the first law of thermodynamics is that energy can be created nor destroyed, only transmuted. There's nowhere for them to go. And inside of this whole universe, there's no separation within it. So whether you're aware of it or not, you're connected to everyone and everything. Where attention goes, energy flows. So if you can keep your thoughts and keep your attention and keep your consciousness on the energy of someone that you once knew, and you build that thought form, of course you can channel that energy and channel their awareness and channel that experience. There's something called the Akashic records, right? And so essentially, because there's one unified consciousness, one mind, and we're experiencing it through different focal points. We don't have the same brain, right? So you're not seeing, or you don't have my memories, but consciousness does. I'm not seeing and having your memories, but consciousness does. So it's all going back to that place. And if you can access that place, which is the field from which you and everything else manifested, of course. And that's really what had a lot to do with my spiritual awakening and me getting on my journey. It was, I had no background, no spiritual awareness at all. It was someone that I lost speaking to me through my mind and through energy. That
Word.
completely changed my perspective.
Word. That's a great answer, bro. And back to the first topic we was on about spirituality and religion. I know a lot of people, they get confused on more so of the history part with how religion came from, because everybody thinks that life started 2,000 years ago from where Christ was crucified, you know. So I just want you to kind of give them more so of like a history lesson of just letting them know, like, there were actually, you can just give a civilization that was here before Christ, you know what I'm saying? Because a
Right.
lot of people, they get confused and they think life started 2,000 years ago when Christ was crucified, but what they don't know is we had ancestors hundreds of thousand years ago before there was even a Jesus thought of in the conscious minds of humanity.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what growing up in America will have you thinking, that life started right after Jesus Christ was crucified. And no. So humanity, the modern human being, we came to being the Homo sapien. We evolved 300,000 years ago. And like the first theological system, the first religious belief system was 35 to 100,000 years ago in East Africa, in ancient Egypt, right? And it was called the Anunian theurgy, which is ancient Egyptian spirituality, Kemeticism. And so it was from Kemeticism that literally every other single religion that exists right now was born. You can take Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, you can take Christianity, you can take every single religion, you can take the stories of Jesus Christ being of dying and resurrecting. You can take all of these figures and all of these events, the floods. You can take them and you'll see that they all happened in the Anunian theurgy. And so yeah, civilization did not exist or did not start 2,000 years ago. And no, human beings today, we're not the most advanced civilization. Our technology, I mean, so it's 2023 now. I'm 22 years old. When I was born, iPhones did not exist. StreamYard, YouTube, Facebook, none of this existed when I was born. So we have all these technological advancements and think, oh, everybody else before us was cavemen living in the wild. No, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago were some of the most advanced and intelligent human beings that ever walked the planet. And they all had this level of consciousness, this spiritual awareness, this multi-dimensional power and work. That's what everybody in the community had. That entire community was built around spiritual principles, and it wasn't a religion. Do you see? Just like, so when he brings up Hermeticism in the seven Hermetic principles, these aren't religious principles that you have to follow. These aren't commandments. These are physical laws that the forces of the universe govern, because quantum physicists have figured out that the mind and the universe are so intertwined that they can't be separated. So the oldest civilization built their laws and their social systems around these universal principles.
Facts.
And that's what allowed them to thrive.
Your mic on mute, bro. Yeah.
Appreciate that. So, question: how do you think they came into knowledge of the laws of the universe? How does a natural being be able to grasp such vast knowledge
Psychedelics.
of the entire universe. What was that?
Psychedelics.
Psychedelics.
See, when you look at mind, right? So let me put it. So let's look at it from this perspective. Let's just look at mind. If we were born in the wilderness and grew up in the wilderness with a blindfold on, you were able to grow up healthy, eat food and everything, but you just grew up in the wilderness, deaf with a blindfold on. You would have no conception of color, of sound, of anything. Mind would just be a formless thing. So essentially, right, what happens is that through language, through conditioning a formless, empty thing, we can only understand things through language. I couldn't talk to you if I couldn't use conditioned language to get a message from my mind to yours. So because we can only think and perceive things through language, through conditioning, we're no longer open to perceiving energy or perceiving these energetic messages, downloads from the universe. So I did some shrooms 2 days ago, August 8th, to celebrate us being in the Lionsgate.
Lionsgate.
Right, to celebrate us being in the Lionsgate. I did some shrooms to connect with some higher frequencies, and I was watching my mind, and this dialogue that I'm having right now, it got to the point to where my mind literally could not construct the characters and sentences that it took for me to even understand words anymore. It was pure vibrations, pure waves of emotion, pure waves of energy, sound frequencies. And these sound frequencies carried information that I know, but I have to sit here for hours trying to figure out how to decipher it. So because back in the day, if you like how you said that we're going to talk about the history of psychedelics. Psychedelics have been used since the beginning of civilization. And Terence McKenna, right, a big pioneer in the psychedelic community, he even proposes that psychedelics are the reason we went from animals to people and beings that could think. That's why we were able to create philosophy, religion, all these different forms of thought. Because if you look at human evolution in our biology, around 100,000 years ago, there was a jump in our brain, doubled in size. Our neurological connection increased twice, right? So what is the evolutionary cause of this jump in brain function? Terence McKenna thinks it was psychedelics. So that would be what I had to say to that. Psychedelics and people going into higher dimensions, higher levels of consciousness, and pulling information back. And if you and like I was talking to John Nick about, with ancient Egypt being the first spiritual civilization, or creating the first religious form of thought, when you look at these figures like Thoth, right, or these other high religious figures in that community, it was said that they would have ceremonies where everybody else in the community would be doing their thing, living normal life, but these people were blocked off performing these psychedelic rituals with the blue lotus, with the mushrooms, with the DMT, going to these places and bringing the wisdom back, because as you know, psychedelics are not for everybody to do.
Right. Fact. So would it be safe to say that a lot of these prophets, a lot of these shamans were using psychedelics to alter their mind and tap into these other realms that we just aren't tapping into today?
Absolutely. I would say that 100%. And also, to piggyback off of that, for anyone who would try to push back on that. So when it comes to psychedelics, you're not introducing a foreign substance to your body. You're playing with existing neurochemistry. All a psychedelic is doing is taking the circuits in your brain and rewiring them for you to perceive things in a different way. Because, like I said, our brains are not functioning to the highest of their capability. When you take a psychedelic, parts of your brain that don't normally communicate start communicating and linking up. We can only see 35 10,000ths of the light spectrum. If we could see, and Dr. Don Hoffman talks about this, if we could see everything around us, if we could hear everything around us, we would not be able to perceive ourselves or perceive reality at all. We have to perceive it in the form of fitness icons. Okay, if I eat this, I'll live. That's danger. But if we were able to perceive truth or perceive the other dimensions, there'd be no way to be a human being. And that's where I forget who makes this quote, but have you heard the quote, to be or not to be?
Of course.
Right. So it's either we choose to be human beings and be in our ego and individuality and experience life, or go to a higher level of consciousness, and none of this shit exists. So it's one or two.
It sounds like we chose a middle ground.
Exactly. And
It
that's the
alludes
purpose.
to mid guard. You feel me?
Right. And that's the purpose of religion. So when you look into the Anunian theurgy, right, the job. So one of the deities on the tree of life is Haru. Now, essentially what our souls incarnated here to do, we incarnated here as baby Haru. We're just baby individuations of consciousness. And so essentially the human being is the bridge between the higher level between the higher dimensions and between the earth realm. And so through consciousness we're supposed to go to the higher realms, learn shit, bring it back here so that we can live beautiful abundant lives and constantly go in that back and forth.
Okay, question. So, how do mushrooms that randomly just come from the ground, that come from utter darkness, how do they come up with so much power and ability to alter the mind like that? Like, okay, we're specimens directly from God. How
Right.
can an organism or a fungi basically come from underneath the ground with no light, no sunlight, and give us such revelations about the universe? How is that even possible?
Science is still trying to figure out how that is possible. But
Yeah.
so going off of my intuition, so when you look at everything in totality, in a broader perspective, how did the earth form, right? It was a ball of dust, gravity pulled it together, it crashed into another rock, turned into a ball of magma, cooled down, etc., yada yada yada. So the earth itself it's not some dead or it's not a house, it's not just something we're living on, it's a living entity, and it's a part of us, and these mushrooms are a part of earth. And consciousness is born through connections. We have our level of consciousness is emerging because of all the connections that we have in our brain, all of our neurological connections. Mushrooms have billions of connections just like we do. Just like we have all these connections in our brain, mushrooms have all these fungal connections. Now, the mycelium network, that's the network. 90% of the land plants on Earth are connected to this network. So it's the communication of Earth. The mycelium network is Earth's mind. So when you consume a mushroom, you're consuming Earth's mind. You're consuming a much larger level of consciousness than you yourself. And so when you look into the mushrooms, right? Mushrooms, we're more closely related physiologically, right? We have a billion years ago, our common ancestors split off. So we're physiologically, we're closer related to mushrooms than we are to plants or anything else. And mushrooms were here first before we had trees. There were 24-foot mushrooms, 20-foot tall mushrooms all over the planet before we even had trees. Mushrooms are the OGs.
Yeah, I want to chime in on that too, because I actually did research and read up on that. The mycelium network is what actually grows the mushroom. So when I started reading on the mycelium network, I started seeing and realizing how, like, damn, the mycelium network is literally a communication system for nature. Like, it's literally a communication system for the spirit realm. Like, we got mycelium in our nervous system. You know what I'm saying? We got
Yeah, talk that.
it's mycelium, real deal, in the plants that we grow, just regular plants, regular fruits that we grow. So when I started realizing that and reading into that, I started seeing, like, wow, like, these mushrooms really connect you to a lot of sources, and it allows you to channel a lot as well. Because I remember I told GMI how I channeled a South American god on a 5 gram mushroom trip one time, and
Ooh.
I seen a vision of colonizers coming through South America. Like, I'm just like, I had an ego death, and my spirit just took me there, like, and I got channeled with it. And I had another channel where I was just, in meditation, I kept seeing hands in my meditation just doing this. And then I got out, I was like, gift the gab. Start thinking gift the gab, like, what the fuck? So I'm doing research, looking up. It's a rap group called Gift the Gab. And one of the rappers, I forgot his name, but every music video, every time he rapped, he had his hands like this. So I'm looking into it. Turned out to be he died. And I got back into the meditation again, and what he was showing me was that somebody had basically poisoned his drink because he died from natural causes. So it was like when I also got channeled with that trip, it was like, okay, these shit's the real deal. Like I just had a whole experience where I channeled somebody who I never even heard of, or a rap group I never heard of, and just seeing that and feeling that, it took my consciousness to a new heights of things, bro.
Man, that's a crazy story, bro. I love to hear that.
Oh yeah, the mushrooms is serious.
Mushrooms are powerful.
Yeah, bro, for real.
So let me ask you: Do you think you said his name was Gift to Gab?
That was the rap group name, but I forgot the specific rapper that was who I was channeling.
So do you think that like you're a reincarnation of that rapper? Do you think that was you?
I never thought of that.
You have to go into like the dates in which he ascended, the days in which he arrived on the planet, all of that, and then compare yours and shit. It might be some truth in that. You never know.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie though. When I had that trip, when I was channeling that trip to hold on. When I was channeling that trip to South America, I ain't gonna lie, I really felt like I was a reincarnation of that deity right there.
Yeah.
That guy, whoever that was, he was communicating with me for like 3 hours. Like that Gift of Gab guy, it was just 1 hour of just channeling. But that South American channel,
yeah,
it was 3 hours straight of communication, literally. And I was riding down the interstate. I'm in rage. Like my whole body started vibrating. Like I'm in rage. I'm furious. Like, yo, like I really felt like I was there. Like I really
I had a similar experience. I want to say it was 4 months ago during a mushroom trip. I was in a deep meditation. I have some meditation music playing on the TV, and my ego starts dissolving, and I ended up having a vision of me being like I was half naked in a jungle, surrounded, and it wasn't me. I was somebody else, but I'm half naked in a jungle in my tribe, and it's a bunch of us, and we're just around a fire, dancing, having the time of our fucking lives, bro. It's trees everywhere, and the energy was just so good. And I saw it all be taken from me. And then the way that I'm living life right now is so different than that. And my soul hated it. And I became so enraged. And it felt like that's who I was. And I got mad that I didn't know my language or my real heritage. I got mad that I didn't know none of this shit. It was like I had a DNA awakening. So do you feel like you awakened some DNA or some past experience trauma?
Yes, bro. Like I had the same process you said you went through. Like, yo, I was driving down the road, and reminder, I'm on 5 grams, and I'm driving like I'm chilling.
Driving on mushrooms?
Oh yeah, I always do, bro.
If you watching this, do not drive on mushrooms. Hell nah.
Bro, I will go to the
plans.
grocery store and grocery shop on mushrooms. I don't care, bro. Like I will do that.
So, do your thing, man.
Yeah, I really get active on the mushrooms. Like I don't sit in the house for real.
Right.
So I was driving down the road and my fucking ego I never had an ego death on mushrooms. This was the first time. And I did 5 grams 3 times already. But I had that ego death, bro, driving down the interstate. And then that's when that deity came in. I'm like, I started seeing visions of, just me in South America. And then I'm seeing colonizers come through there just killing everybody, killing kids, slaughtering people. And then, I'm driving around a grocery store parking lot for like 15 minutes, just in this vision. I park the car, go in the grocery store, get my mangoes, come out, and like I come back to my body, like I'm back, and I just got furious, bro. Like, I started punching the steering wheel. I'm crying. I was like, yo, I was really there. Like, I was really connected to this tribe, bro. Like, I really had a connection with them. Like, I was really a part of them, bro. Like, and I felt like I was really there. Like, I really experienced that. Like, I really seen it.
That's why I feel like we're in the time that we're in right now. When it comes to people like me or you. So, are you and G and Mike close in real life?
We just met like 2 months ago.
But like locally in real life type shit.
Oh, he in Florida. I'm in South Carolina.
See, that's why I feel like. So I know that you said it, GMI, bro. You feel? Do you got like a lot of people, personal friends in your life that think on this level of on this frequency?
I have a South Carolina native on here for a reason, because if I had somebody that did think like this locally, they'd be here. But it's
See, so that's what I'm over here in Washington, bro. The way I feel like it, I feel like that we're gems and we get dropped and spread out everywhere else. And through consciousness, right, we're supposed to connect through a higher network. Because you got to think, the internet is literally like a physical version of consciousness. This vast, infinite network of connection that can just grow and grow and grow based on what you add to it, new perspective, new experience. So the universe dropped us throughout all these different parts for us to radiate this energy, broadcast it outwards and influence the people around us. And then we, on the higher level, we connect and we start making shit happen.
okay. So, question:
Right.
wouldn't that like destroy the entire theory of all of life just began in Africa on one landmass?
What do you mean?
I don't believe that we just all began on one specific landmass if we're all supposed to impact this entire realm on different areas. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to keep the land, watch over the land. We can't all do that in one specific landmass. If
Right.
we all began in Africa, who was everywhere else? So
So
that doesn't make sense to me.
so this is how I would break that down, right? So when you start looking at, and I have a surface level understanding of this, but when you start looking into anthropology, there were different subspecies of humans that existed, right? So today, every person on this planet, no matter what race you are a Homo sapien. But thousands and thousands of years ago, you had Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, you had Neanderthals, you had Denisovans, you had
Why do I hear today of Homo sapien? Like, what the hell is that?
I don't know what a Homo sapien is. I don't know what that is. I haven't heard of that term.
Okay.
But like I was saying, Homo sapien, Homo erectus, Neanderthal, Denisovan, there were different subspecies of humans, right? Now the way that different races got created, it was when the Homo sapien, right, the melanated, the black being that came out of East Africa, once they migrated and spread across the world, once we mixed with Neanderthals in the Caucasus Mountains and they evolved into Homo sapiens, it was based on the food and based on how much sunlight you got. Biologically, you evolved. What does life do? One of the 7 characteristics of life, right? You learn this shit in middle school science class. You respond to the environment. So if you're in a really cold environment, you're gonna have lighter skin. But if you're in a hot ass environment, you're gonna need that neuromelanin to protect you. So essentially, it was us mixed. It was the Homo sapien mixing with other subspecies of humans after migrating and spreading out across the world, and time evolving that allowed different races to prosper, different cultures, different ethnicities. But that's why one species of human exists, the Homo sapien.
Interesting. So, do you think paying attention to race is basically a waste of time?
Race does not exist, and I mean that. Like I said, I love being black. I love my culture. I definitely love that aspect of being a human being. But ultimately, race does not exist. Every single human being has the same amount of melanocytes. It's just that, like I said, based on what our biology required of our ancestors, we all produce different amounts of melanin, which is responsible for the mutation of pigmentation in the skin. We're all the same fucking thing. I'm not a black person and you're not a this person or a that person. We're all the human being.
Facts. Have you ever heard of the Bach saga?
No, no, I haven't. Enlightened me.
The Bach saga, it basically takes place during the last ice age, and it describes how there was originally one race of people, and after the last ice age, we all got split up, and that's what began the different races or different changes of skin tone. Because during the last ice age, everybody got split up. You know what I'm saying? It was a catastrophe that I think that's what the Bible is referencing as.
Oh shit. Okay.
Have you ever heard of it?
Nah, I haven't heard of it, but you just made a thought click. So if there was really one landmass and the ice age caused it to split apart, maybe that one landmass split across the whole fucking earth, and over time we all just evolved on different landmasses spread out across the globe and forgot, like you said.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all watch Avatar 2, but the way
Oh,
of water. But y'all see how like did you guys watch it?
I
I
didn't.
still haven't finished it.
Well, yeah,
I
basically the avatars in the forest, they had to migrate and
hold
go.
up. Try to tell the story without spoiling it, bro, because I still want to watch it.
Okay. So basically, they had to migrate and basically connect with the other people that's outside of the
Oh
forest.
yeah, I saw that part. Yeah,
But
yeah.
when they went there, you could
Are they a
see
different
like,
color?
huh?
Are they a different color? Or are they still blue?
Wow,
They was just a little lighter than them,
different hue,
but
like different shade.
they had longer tails. They was a little lighter.
It was like the two blues that you're wearing right now, Larry. The
Yeah, like
contrast in
the
those two
forest
blues.
people was the color of your do rag, but the people near the waters was more so the color of your shirt.
Fact.
But the people near the waters, they had more so like bigger forearms, longer tails, lighter skin, things like that. But if you actually like look, you know, you can look at an African and tell like you're not from America.
Right.
But you can, because I done had my African friends, they'll like tell me like we can tell you're from America, like just by how your biological structure look.
Right.
So what I started realizing is like maybe once because I actually do feel like the Pangea is real and it happened.
That's
So
what I
I
was gonna
feel like
ask.
once we like separated on these land masses, we started basically we had to adapt to how our environment was or how basically how our environments was really, I would say, because over here in America you had more so like people with they they say we were more so like they say like people around the Caribbean areas were more so like people with they they say we were more so like they say like people around the Caribbean areas were more dark
Mm-hmm.
and the people more so around the Americas. But also in Africa, they say it was just they were just like all of them were more so just dark people. And then
Mm-hmm.
you had the albinos as well, who they basically erased them from their culture and tribes and pushed them away really.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching an Avatar movie and it kind of like just gave me an insight on that. But I
So
do
what?
want to watch it again just to get more clarity from what I'm trying to get at.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I'll just drop just a little piece of the movie. It's not major at all. So basically, the army, like the I guess the American army, whatever,
Yeah.
they impede on the Avatar's land once again. So maybe that's a symbolization of just a catastrophe that we went through in the past that came that we experienced, and like Larry, like you said, it caused us to branch out into other land masses and connect with other people. Maybe that's like how you said it impacted Pangea or whatever and caused them to go reach out to other people on different land masses. Maybe that's what the army coming and impeding on their land, maybe that was a symbolization of maybe the last ice age, or you know what I'm saying, something like that, to that factor. Maybe.
See,
I
see, and
also caught a insight that the people, because in the movie, the colonizers had found a way to transmute their bodies into an avatar. So what I had got from the movie is more so like them people that were the colonizers who looked like the originals. They were basically the Moorish people who brung the Caucasian race from Africa over to America.
right.
They were basically just guiding them like where to go throughout the waters, where to go throughout the lands, where the people are, and everything in that nature. Because the colonizers that were the avatars, they knew where to go. They knew where the people was at. Like they didn't need anybody to tell them, but the people who was just regular, Neanderthals and everything on the ships, they was just there like, okay, just show us where to go so we can get what we want.
Yeah,
But
interesting. Oh no.
yeah, but also if you watch the movie, once y'all pay attention more, you will see like once they transmuted their consciousness into these avatars, they started having a heart touching spirit just like them. Like the guy from the first movie, the general, when he transmuted his body into an avatar, you will see he had more of a heart for certain situations. You know what I'm saying? Like it was one scene where in the first movie he would have killed the avatars, but it was one scene he wanted to kill them, but for some reason his heart was just different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Then it was just plenty more scenes like that. Like you would be like, this ain't the first general. This ain't the general from the first Avatar. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
maybe that was
watch
symbolizing. Maybe that was symbolizing them. They're wanting to mix. You feel me? Mix back into different races and stuff like that. Maybe to gain like that spirituality, that essence back.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. So I have a question. Let me add this to the stream. So these type of conversations that we're having at the moment, you never hear on the news. You would never hear on BET. You would never hear on the Breakfast Club. Nothing. You wouldn't hear on Drink Champs. You're not gonna hear it on Vlad TV. And I'm curious, why is that? We have figures that they prop up to us that they tell us that we should follow, but we can see in the last 50 years we're experiencing the same thing. I wouldn't say too much progress has been made.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't there more conscious conversations being had in the community?
Because if you want to control a society or control a large group of people, you have to control how they think. And what we see in the media, what we see on the internet, what we see on TV, these are all things that drastically shape our opinions and our beliefs and our our experience of the world. Now, if social media, like, so you have to think, in order to do something, you need permission, right? If you want to go get a car, you have to go get licensed to drive it. If you want to go finance it, you got to get approved. If you want something, you usually have to go through a higher level of authority. And so if you go up the chain of command, the highest level of authority does not want this type of information being poured into the masses, because it's going to drastically shift the level of consciousness. And we're not going to be fighting over money anymore. We're not going to be fighting over race anymore. We're going to be looking to overthrow the systems of power because they're not aligned with the natural frequency or the consciousness of the earth. And so it's all algorithmic. It's, what do I want the masses to see? And but conversations like this, people like us who get together, when you look at people like Yaki, or when you look at 19 Keys on High Level Conversations, when you look at Billy Carson, there are information can't be hidden and suppressed forever. So it's people that are breaking through, and we're going to continue to break through and push until they have no other option but to fold.
Yeah. And I also want people to know, like, first thing first, realize this. If any black person that look like us get a lot of publicity into cameras, media outlets, they're an agent. Like, I don't know how much I gotta stress that to y'all. Like, it don't matter how much you like their music. Like, I'm a Meek Mill fan, but if you can ask anybody that follow me, I keep it real about who Meek Mill is. I don't care I don't care if he one of my favorite rappers. I don't care about none of that. I'm gonna tell you he's an Asian. So I want y'all to realize, like, y'all have to break that emotional bondage with celebrities and just appreciate the art they give you. Like, let's just make an example, like Sexy Red and Sookie. Like, women, I know y'all love their music, but they are agents. They, like, y'all have to be honest with yourself. Just that low level of consciousness is not going to get that much publicity for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be honest with yourself. Like, right here, Al Sharpton, Kamala Harris, Jay and Beyonce, and Colin Kaepernick. Like,
you see,
I wanted to. They're all agents. Like, it is. Like, I appreciate Jay-Z music. He's an agent. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what it's for, bro. It's to all this shit in the media is to captivate our consciousness, because what happens when a mind is left alone, when you're not distracted, you
Idle.
start when you're not distracted, mind folds in on itself and it starts expanding and growing. So that's why there's always constantly some dumb shit being made hella famous, hella quick, get everybody's attention to distract you for something. It's constant distractions being fed into your mind. Like y'all seen all the AI shit on TikTok and how that went viral.
Oh yeah.
Bro, it's so weird.
Thank you for it. Thank you. So you feel what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? They're trying to. It's low. When you look at a lot of this shit that's being talked about, like me personally, I used to be super entertained by YouTube, TikTok, like all these interviews with shit like drink champs and the Breakfast Club, and that's not for me to negatively name drop anyone like that. Like I hope I end up on those platforms, but when you listen to the substance, when you listen to what people are talking about, it's like goddamn. 4 million people are sitting here watching y'all talk about not shit, nothing fucking important. When you look at 99% of these podcasts, it's literally people chilling, just bullshit, talking about whatever comes to their mind or whatever socially
that's
relevant.
it. That's it.
That's it. It's either that or they're arguing about who's at
Relationship topics. 50.
relationship talking, who's more at fault, men or women. And so it's like if we start talking about progression, conscious progression, exercise, you know what? I'm not even going to say that it's not accessible. How many times have you guys tried to talk to somebody about meditation, spirituality, exercise, healthy eating, and they looked at you like, what the fuck you got going on? I don't want to hear about that shit. So
Instantly.
instantly. So why is this shit invigorates me? It lights my soul on fire to learn how to progress and expand myself. But when I bring it to you, you shut it down. That shows you the level of consciousness that people are at. It's comfortable and familiar to live like that. I seen a video yesterday of this guy on TikTok and he was just so anxious and turned up because, and this ain't to judge him, but he's a grown man. He's in his life, he's just now finally being able to learn to read. So because now he's able to learn to read and he's able to get all this new
He
information
was
and
crying.
he was what the fuck? Like I don't know what to do. That's what happens when you learn information. Your perspective starts to change. Nobody wants to change your perspective.
And we also said the last podcast, only 78% of people that don't use their conscious mind in this world.
It's higher than that. It's actually 95.
It's 95?
Only 5% of people have this level of self-awareness to have these types of conversations.
Chosen. Sheesh.
Chosen.
Bro, what? You just blew my mind. I had a question, but it's slipping my mind right now.
It'll circle back.
Well, what I'll just say this. Well, I was listening to Dolo the Pilot Man, Flight Boss, you feel me? Who I think is one of the he on another level. Like he done on a level by himself. But he was explaining how they give us like the establishment, they give us thought forms to impact certain chakras, to have our mind or our soul resonate in certain energy centers or certain levels of consciousness that they want us to be vibrating on. You feel me? So they'll give us Sexy Red, who wears nothing but red. You feel me? And I ain't gonna lie, bro. That song she got with she had a song with the baby, a song with the baby. They remixed one of his songs.
I heard
it. Bro, fam. It is what, bro, like it I couldn't even, I really couldn't even fathom. Like I'm listening to it, like, fam, do they not see that she's a puppet? Like she's but they have her around all the famous entertainers now. Have her making music with every hot and trending artist at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, and she all the entire songs, she just said she's just expressing how much she knows how to F. You feel me? Bango Lotto. Then it took my mind to the back in the day when he was talking about, I wish I could every girl in the world. You know what I'm saying? Well, he was essentially expressing the same sentiment.
Same
But
thing.
it's like now that I'm more aware, I'm older, it's hitting me so like hearing a woman say it, bro. It took
And
my
it's right.
it took my mind
I was in 5th grade singing that song. I wish I could I'm in 5th grade, like
Bro, and
exactly
really lit off of it.
so I just read this book, right? And it's called Thought Forms, and it explains that.
thought forms.
And it's just like how you know GMI, Johnny and L Money, bro. Just like how we feel like we're living beings, our thoughts are living beings. So essentially, we're just consciousness. We're empty bowls of awareness. And when a thought comes into that empty bowl of awareness, it's a live living being. So when people are putting this shit into music, I wish I could fuck every girl in the bro. When you're feeling that, you're feeling those emotions, you're getting excited, you're turning up, you're nodding your head, you're literally programming your song for that vibration. That I wish I could fuck every girl in the that shit is humming around literally inside of your physiology. And so
Mhm.
just like how you said, that thought form, it becomes a living entity that's keeping your consciousness trapped inside of your sacral chakra because you want to
Oh
fuck
my
every girl in
god.
the world. You're stuck inside of the pleasure. This shit it's all full circle, bro. It's all
You
connected.
have absorbed that concept, and now it's
Once
just
you
regurgitated. It's just replaying in your mind subconsciously. You don't even, and the thing is, we already know the music. It's attuned to a certain frequency and it's aligned with spells. So
mm-hmm,
when you absorb it, it's doing all type of tricks in your mind that you're not even aware of.
100%, 100%.
And I
And
also want people to know, like, we got to use high discernment with the celebrities. Like Sexy Red, she's just a woman who don't know. You know what I'm saying? She's a woman who don't know she's being used in the world. You know what I'm saying? But you also got the celebrities like Beyonce. She knows her level. She knows she's on a higher echelon, and she's also an occultist. So she's not a she's getting used, but she's also working with them. You know what I'm saying? But you
let me
got
say,
women like Sexy Red.
so look,
She's a woman who don't know. You know.
let me push back. Let me push back just a little bit. So I've like when I was younger and shit. I seen all the YouTube videos. Beyonce's in the Illuminati. You play the song backwards. I seen all like the conspiracy things. But I heard a song like I was in the gym a couple years ago, and I heard "You Won't Break My Soul. I'm on a new vibration." Like
You
Beyonce,
won't break my
I feel like
soul.
right. I feel like she has that higher awareness or some type of spirituality. I feel like I can sense it and I can smell it when
Mhm.
somebody puts it in music, or you can't fuck with my energy, or I'm meditating, burning sage. Somebody drop one line out the song. So I feel like a lot of our perspective, there's a lot. I'm not saying she's not an occultist, but what I can say though is that she has put some good vibrations out.
Oh yeah.
Some you
So we
think
gotta use
she
our
But I one thing I can say about occultists,
hold
like
up. Google the "You Won't Break My Soul" lyrics. I want to see what she said in her verse.
I got you.
but one thing I can say about occultists, like I tell people with Travis Scott, I tell them like I can't really say he's a demon for what he do, and I can't really say he's an angel for what he do. But
Right.
one thing I can say, he got some legit heavy occultists that work for him. You
Hmm.
know?
Real deal?
Oh yeah, and I can agree with that. With what you said about Beyonce for sure. Like one thing
Yeah,
for
if
sure,
you would have said Lil Uzi Vert, bro, I would have been like, yeah, man, yeah. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have said shit.
nah.
That's no disrespect to That's no disrespect to him, but I get it.
You see him, fam?
Yo, yeah. So go down to when she's talking about vibrations.
I see it.
I'm looking for motivation. I'm looking for a new foundation. I'm on that new vibration. You won't break my soul. Release your anger, release your mood, release your job, release the time, release the stress. These are affirmations and that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like, you know what? I was in that shit. I was being used, but fuck y'all. Like I'm on my shit because you feel me? Beyonce was all in the camera. She was all in the mix, and then she went away for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's why I say she's one of them. She knows her power. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But you
Queen
got a
B.
woman like Sexy Red. She don't know her power, so she's getting used and
Mhm.
manipulated by the people in the industry. You know.
And I
But
remember, bro, I remember being 12 and 13. I remember how much the girls in my school would always play the most. Nicki Minaj would just play the most popping female artists, bro. I'm 22, so this is 10 years ago. So I know damn well today it's some schools and some inner cities are slapping the hell out of Sexy Red. And those young ladies are not are not are not growing into the queens that they're supposed to be. And this is no disrespect to Sexy Red. I'm not even going to say nothing about her intelligence and say she don't know. Maybe she just don't give a fuck and she just expressing who she is. All I'm doing is I'm just you feel what I'm saying? I'm just talking about my ideals and what I believe is what needs to be put out there for the growth of human beings. And I'm not trying to control nobody, right? Disclaimer just to keep shit from being hostile in the comments.
Yeah.
So, would you perceive her to be vibrating high, low? What's your perception? What do you perceive the her art, her craft when you digest the music? What does your soul say?
So what she say? I turn a real nigga up. I don't know how to dance, but I know how to fuck. My booty, my pussy pink, my booty hole brown. Was that her that said that? Or was that
Yeah, that was
so?
her.
When I listen to her music, I get the feeling that she like really objectifies herself, or she just herself is really in her cycle and really in her root chakra. Now, when women, just from my experience, right? When women are really sexual like that, they usually have something happen in their childhood, or they didn't have their father around, or their father was abusive, or just when they're hypersexual like that, they have some sort of trauma. I don't think that like, and for men too, I think that just being hypersexual in general and always talking about and having that be your main source of appeal, it's always going to be reflective of not necessarily a low vibration, but of a human being with trauma and a human being with um with some sort of psychological damage. Yeah, it's of a lower frequency for sure. That type of music is gonna keep you in your lower chakras, or your root chakras. It's not gonna feed your spirit. But at the same time, like I don't know what she does in her life. I mean, yeah, she makes that music, put it out there, it's on the internet, but I don't know if she's in the kitchen, eats some alkaline fruits and vegetables, drinking spring water. I don't know if she practices meditation. And a lot of the time, bro, it's been a few interviews where I listen to people and they're like, yeah, that whole shit I do on the internet is just a character, bro. But in real life, it's completely different. So I try to just give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely not of a vibration I want to be on.
I know you. That's facts because I got an ex who she just loved it. It was back when I was like 18. I'm 25. No, I was probably like 16. Yeah, 16. I'm 25 now, and she always wanted to have sex. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I don't even like doing this a lot in one day. You know what I'm saying? But
Like it been
just
4 times.
recently, like earlier this year though, she came to me and told me like I got raped by my uncle, and I
Right.
was like, oh, that makes sense now. Like, what the fuck? Like,
See, and that's what I, not to cut you off, bro. I'm sorry, but I looked
oh, yeah, I
into.
was done with what I was saying for sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I looked into that earlier this year, and I was like, because like it says that psychologically, when you had that taken from you, you being hypersexual is a subconscious way of you trying to essentially take that power back or take that responsibility for your and part of yourself back. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
So,
definitely real.
so we've mentioned them a few times throughout the interview. The word chakras, chakras, chakras. So, say someone came and said that, oh, they did a little research. They found out that chakras are demonic. They're evil. We shouldn't be studying that. They're fake. You can't prove it. How would you explain that to them?
I would tell them that just because it depends on my mood. Like if you come at me crazy telling me this shit ain't real, then it's like, well, then it's not my fault you lack intelligence, right? But if you come to me really trying to understand something, well, okay, well, so on the metaphysical side, a chakra is it's a wheel, it's an energy center responsible for certain aspects of the human personality and health. Now, physically, you can look this up. We have something called the endocrine system. The endocrine system is what's responsible for the distribution of hormones in our bloodstream.
Mhm,
And what distributes these hormones is specific glands within the body, and you have 7 of these glands within the endocrine system. So
mhm,
every chakra literally has a physical organ that you can look at in the body. And not
mhm,
only does it have a physical organ, you can look up what hormone it secretes and what it regulates. What So it regulates your metabolism, it regulates your blood pressure, it regulates your mood, it regulates your testosterone, your reproductive hormones. So when you want to talk about chakras, you have to come, or when you talk about anything in spirituality, it's usually like that. There's usually a metaphysical side, and there's usually a scientific side. And so just just don't lack the knowledge. Do deeper research.
Do you feel? I know a lot of people get confused with this, but do you know? Do you also see like science and once science and spirituality got separated? Do you feel like that's when it caused a confusion with humanity itself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because when you look at it from a broader perspective, science and spirituality have never not been the same thing. Like I said before, our science and our version of technology, all of this shit is new. America's been a country, what, 400 years? Like our version, our language, our understanding of reality and its tools, it's new. But thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, people had these understandings and deeper understandings of all these different energy meridians of the body. They had these different understandings. How the fuck, you tell me, if we're the most scientifically advanced, how the fuck the ancient Egyptians built pyramids that are literally aligned with stars fucking light years away. And just to put that in perspective, the speed of light, you can move around the earth 7 times in 1 second. So hundreds, thousands of light years away, people are building pyramids that are literally astrologically aligned with the stars. And we cannot replicate that shit today. We couldn't if we wanted to. We couldn't
If
build
we
another
wanted
pyramid.
to.
If we wanted to, damn sure couldn't align it with the stars.
Y'all see
So,
my screen?
right, yeah. So, refresh me on the question again.
Well, I was just saying, do you feel like once science and
Oh,
spirituality
yeah,
got like,
right.
yeah,
Exactly. So, bro, mathematics, science, geometry, in order to build them pyramids and align them with the bodies, with the astral bodies, it had to be done with an incredible understanding of science and mathematics. Everything, all the spirituality is about maintaining health and well-being. When you look into meditation, they have the science telling you that meditation, when you box breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, out for 5 seconds, and hold it, that you align your physiological systems. It's called physiological coherence. They can put monks underneath brain scanners and have them go into a deep state of meditation, and they can show you that the default mode network, the part of your brain where the self exists, where all of your self-referential thoughts exist, it shuts down, and they have a state of consciousness where there's no self. Self is an illusion, and self is simultaneously what generates the reality. All of this can be broken down scientifically. And that's essentially, when you look at my content, bro, that's essentially all I'm trying to do. All of this shit started with a mushroom trip. I had a mushroom trip. My ego died. I became the entire universe. I came back into this, and I was like, okay, I gotta tell everybody. I started telling people, right, and I started being told I was fucking crazy, and I wondered, am I crazy for believing this shit? Okay, every time I had a question, I would go down a rabbit hole of research and saw that everything that I intuitively would feel and know could be validated with thorough scientific research. And so
Mm.
essentially, I'm just strengthening my arsenal. I'm strengthening my toolbox. Any question, I want to be able to answer it. Any sort of concept being broken up, I want to be able to challenge it, and I want to be able to prove what I'm saying.
So you would say that it's essential to first find peace within yourself before you can be able to receive it in other areas and other facets.
I would say, I would say you have to. I would have to say you just have to turn your attention inwards and face your demons first, because that's how you find the peace. So peace isn't something that you acquire. Peace is the product, or peace is something that's emergent of you doing the work and not being bothered. And so, if we have 70,000 thoughts every day, if the human DNA can hold up to 215 million gigabytes worth of information, we have lifetimes worth of trauma, lifetimes worth of thoughts and energies within us that we need to align and straighten out and release in order to be at peace and get off that wheel of reincarnation.
Mm, interesting. So you mentioned reincarnation. So you
Right.
definitely do believe that this isn't our first go round.
Nah, not at all.
So do a lot of people say that Earth is basically a school where the soul comes to develop and learn and begin to get stronger, wiser. Do
Right.
you do you agree with that thought?
So essentially, I'm gonna put it into perspective like this, right? There is no such thing as as a physical reality, and there's no separation in the
Let's get
universe.
active.
Right. So the entire universe, right? Everything in the universe is made of matter. Now, what is matter made of? Matter is made of molecules. You go down to atoms. Atoms are comprised of 99.9% empty space. There is no such thing as a physical reality, right? So reality is being projected outwards by our minds every second. Now, when you close your eyes, what happens? It goes away. That's reality right there, a non-dualistic version of consciousness where nothing exists but you, where you expand out into being the entire universe. The reason you keep reincarnating is because your soul or your individuation of consciousness, just the vibrational energies, when you sit down and be quiet, if your mind starts speaking about having desires and you start having uncomfortable thoughts and egotistical thoughts, that's the reason that you keep on regenerating a reality to experience, because your reality generator, your consciousness, still has these beliefs programmed into it. So is it actually a school? No. But can it be looked at like a school? Yes. That's the perfect framework to think of it in. So you keep on coming back here to learn over and over again and do the work, because all of this is your mind. You're not born, it's not GTA, right? Or the avatar. We didn't spawn into this motherfucker. We're not in here and then we're finna go somewhere else when we die. Literally all of right now is our own consciousness. And if you're experiencing, the illusion of separation, the dualistic perspective, subject object, me looking at you, if you're experiencing that still, it's because you're still in that mode of consciousness. And if you look at, and so I read this book, right, called Why Buddhism is True. When you look at some of the most advanced or most renowned monks, when you put them on a brain scanner and you scan their brains, they literally do not have self-referential thoughts. There are monks who literally don't
Don't
have
think of self.
that, they don't think of a self. They're literally
Only
just
the collective.
literally, they're walking cameras. They're literally just walking focal points of awareness. There's no self in there. So that's essentially what we come here to do, to transcend the illusion of self.
Okay, but would you say that it's easier for them because they aren't in the ruckus of everyday life or American inner city? They're not dealing with that. They're in the mountains away from everything.
Right.
Do you think that's making it easier for them? Would they be able to maintain that same level of consciousness living in Washington, living in Florida, living in South Carolina? Or is that only possible living in the mountains away from everything?
What I can say is this: a lot of monks don't live in seclusion. So yes, they go on their month, half a year meditation retreats, but they also come back into society. So there's two different ways of being a monk. You can achieve, Buddha enlightenment and keep it all to yourself, or you can come back and give your wisdom to the people. There's monks I've seen in YouTube videos. There's monks I've seen do TED Talks. So if you come back to society, yeah, there's going to be a lot more distractions. But is it fundamentally impossible? No, I don't think so. And me personally, if I was in the mountains, I know for a fact I wouldn't be as evolved as I am right now, because it's me being in society and having, being able to get on my iPhone and watch these TikToks, watch these videos, download these books, being able to talk to these other people and acquire these different plant medicines. It's society that's allowed me to grow spiritually. So if there was a one size fits all or one path is going to suit all formula for spirituality, I would say, yeah, nah, you'd have to be in the mountains. But nah, I don't think so.
Interesting. Interesting. So say you started off from 0 point consciousness.
Mhm.
What do you think would be the most beneficial religion, spirituality system to start off with, to produce a high level in awareness? Like,
So,
would it be Muslim? Would it be Buddhism? Would it be 7 Day Adventist? Would it be regular Christianity? Would it be atheism? What would you start? What would you feed your children today?
So it's actually funny because I made a video about this a couple months ago. Me personally, what was able to advance me the most on my spiritual journey was Buddhism, because I actually did grow up a Christian. I got baptized. I was a Christian for 16 years. Now it was through 16 to 19 that I really started questioning the world and started, acquiring all this accessible information that made me go, okay, Christianity is not it for me. I don't believe in this necessarily. But Buddhism, it doesn't really deal with gods, deities. It doesn't deal with all of these things that you have to put faith in. Buddhism essentially just breaks down human psychology. It breaks down desire, awareness. It breaks down the concept of self. It breaks down, okay, if you close your eyes and look around in your mind, what parts of it are permanent? If separation doesn't exist in the universe, then, or if separation doesn't exist, no thing has an independent existence. Nothing technically exists. It's all one collective consciousness. So it was Buddhism that really allowed me to understand what I deal with every day, my own mind. I'm not dealing with heaven, hell. I'm not dealing with gods. I'm not dealing with I'm dealing with my own mind, and that's all Buddhism talks about.
Mm, that's a great answer. So do you feel like you would so because basically it's are the hermetic laws or the laws of the universe implemented into Buddhism teachings?
Absolutely. They absolutely are. Now, they might not be called the Hermetic laws or they might not be called the Hermetic principles, but like I said, every single religion was derived from the Hermetic principles, from the Anunian theory. Every single religion comes from it. So you'll find it everywhere. They talk about vibration, they talk about frequency. And if you look, and so me personally, right, I looked into the Anunian theurgy, ancient Egyptian spirituality, after being extremely familiar with Buddhism. There's a lot of principles in there that are like verbatim, just taken from it.
Mm-hmm. And that's also the same way with the Bible. A lot of the proverbs and such are taken from Kemetic teachings.
Right.
The people say the entire commandments derive from the 42 laws of Ma'at. You know
They
what I'm
did.
saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the story of Jesus was stolen from the story of Horus.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
so forth.
yeah, right. So on and
And
so
so
forth.
forth. So question, I have the Hermetic laws right here. Question, where does the word Hermetic and Hermeticism derive from? And which of these laws do you think are the most beneficial to you and that we experience or interact with on a day-to-day basis?
So Hermeticism essentially, right? So Hermes Trismegistus or Hermes thrice the Great, he was essentially so he was a deity within the ancient Egyptian spiritual community, right? And so essentially he was the one that would take the psychedelics and go into these meditations and go into these higher dimensions and come back and give the people wisdom, give the people healing, giving the people science, religion, mathematics, philosophy, giving them the tools to prosper and flourish. And so the Hermetic principles come from Hermes, the Hermes thrice the Great, the God that understood the entire universe. Now, when it comes to answering which Hermetic principles are the most important or that we deal with every day, I would say the most important is the principle of vibration, and the one that we experience all the time is the principle of mentalism. If you close your eyes, thoughts will pop up, ideas about yourself, ideas about life, your memories about your experiences, your anticipations and imagination based on those experiences. You'll see that when your eyes are closed, your entire conceptualization of life and you can see it and still hear it. So the universe, the principle of mentalism, the universe is literally a mental construct. It's just that when you think your eyes are open, you think you're in the world. No, you're literally still in your own mind, because what happens, everything that it's all zeros and ones. It's all patterns. It's all coding that that your eyes send to certain parts of your brain to turn into holographic illusions. You're inside of your own mind. That's the principle of mentalism. Now, the principle of vibration, I would say that even if you didn't master any of the principles, if you mastered the principle of vibration and you were able to align yourself with the highest of frequencies, positive thoughts, healthy foods, good energy, good situations, you're always going to experience abundance and prosperity in life, because that's the frequency that you're on. It's not necessarily about being able to turn all of these spiritual principles into knowledge and have them up here to be able to articulate to someone else. It's literally just about feeling and being. And if you can feel and be good, you did it.
Facts,
So I've
facts.
only mastered the principle of rhythm, polarity, uh and I actually just started mastering gender this year, the principle
Mm,
of gender.
right.
I'm
That's
still
what I'm
working on the others right now.
right.
What would you say mastery of the principle of gender would entail?
Um, the principle of gender. Well, I'm gonna go from. I'm gonna talk about from experience. What helped me with that was just the last relationship I was in. It helped me realize like how to understand a woman more, and also how to understand myself more, and also men. So it also helped me to understand how, and also seeing the gender war going on as well. You know, that helped me as well to understand the principle of gender more as well. So I'll say like just the fact how us men, how we react, how we treat women, on how women react and how they treat us. And not the bad terms, speaking of the good terms, you know, how just seeing like even certain movies like Avatar, you know what I'm saying? Like the principle of gender in that movie is so immaculate. Like it defines it so perfect. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
yeah, so just experience, bro. It helped me master the principle of gender. But polarity,
In question, aren't those basically like I'm reading them now? Aren't those basically like the same thing? Principle of gender, principle of polarity. That's basically like the well, I guess not, but it's the polarity is the masculine and the like the feminine aspects of an
Yeah.
object,
So yeah,
basically.
I see what you're saying. So so the principle of gender is emergent, or it arises from the principle of polarity.
you like polarity, you got wrong, right, you got angry, happy.
So like basically like the principle polarity is like the essence, and then the gender is like a production or a I guess like a production of the essence, basically.
Right, because if everything operates, so right, so everything is one, right? The law of oneness, everything is one, so there's only one.
It's only one.
So the law of polarity explains that different aspects of this, or different aspects or different extremes of the same thing, or I butchered that, but different aspects of one spectrum are truly the same thing. So that's why there's no light or dark, there's no hot or cold. Like, for example, so when it comes to heat, what we call hot and cold is literally just the average vibration of molecules in the environment. There is, and that's just an opinion. There is no such thing as actual real hot or cold, or real light or dark, or real good or bad, or real masculine and feminine. It's all one thing. But on our level, when we perceive ego, when we perceive life through dualism, it splits off into masculine and feminine. And in my personal life, bro, just mastering masculine and feminine principles, it's really allowed me to understand when I need to take action, and when I need to allow, or when I need to relax and receive something. It's when I need to be logical and put my emotions to the side, or put my logic to the side and just follow what my heart says. And so a lot of men think being feminine has something to do with being flamboyant. No, to be feminine is to be free flowing, is to be creative, and it's to not move in a linear fashion. And so essentially, um, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
I know with polarity, when you said there's no such thing as hot cold, that's how I really understood. It was this one time how I really understood polarity. Like I'm in the shower, with the last relationship I had, and me and her are actually good friends now. But I'm in the shower. We in the shower with each other. I'm in the shower, with the last relationship I had, and me and her are actually good friends now. But I'm in the shower. We in the shower with each other, and I'm like, damn, this shit is too hot. It ain't
Mm,
hot. What you talking about? I'm like, you don't feel
mm,
that
mm,
shit. and
mm.
uh, and then after I was reading more so on polarity, and I'm sitting there after I got out the shower, and I'm like, damn, so that's what it is. Like it's nothing but the aspect of your mind, really. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm glad you said it's interesting because how you made reference to the polarity. So they say that okay, we have our physical body is the slowest vibrating aspect of our light body. Okay, they say that we have multiple bodies, maybe 5 to 7, but the other ones are vibrating so fast they're operating on higher dimensions. So I have books that actually say that this body that we have right here is physical, but it interchanges on each realm that you go higher and higher. So this aspect of us is physical, but the the next dimension above, or our next light body, is likely feminine. You feel me? So that's why men, we are physically, we can physically take more pain, but emotionally and spiritually, intuitively, women, they take the most more pain because their next light body is masculine. So that's why they were created to take as much pain with periods, childbirth. We can't even fucking imagine. You feel me?
Right.
And that's why in the mythology with Jesus, he was like, you can nail my hands, you can cut me up, I'm not the body.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yes. So I have one quick question before we wrap everything up. You said everything is one, and that took my mind here. Everything is one. The word, well, the main character of the Matrix is clearly Neo, which is also an anagram for one. That's what they were continuously telling him. Neo, you're the one.
Right.
So Neo broke the Matrix. Can you explain to me what exactly is this picture right here, Larry? This all green, the algorithm. What? How would you explain this?
So I would say that the green, the green that you see on the screen is it's what we would call the quantum field, right? It's the energetic, non-physical structure of reality. It's what's behind the physical reality that we see. And so, just like in quantum physics, how everything exists in a state of infinite potential across the universe until an observer observes observes the quantum system and collapses it into a definite observational excuse me, a definite observable event.
Mm,
So essentially, right, life is a crystallized version of your consciousness, like I said before. So when you look at something, essentially you're taking the energy of the quantum soup, all of these particles, all these frequencies of vibrations, and based on your thought, which is the force that creates reality, it shapes this soup into what's called your subjective experience. And so that's what I would say the green is it's the behind, it's the foundation.
wow, that was a
That was
great
a great
answer.
answer.
That was a great answer for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
So you said that was the quantum field. So I have a question for you. This, I made this my last question, but it just came up, so I gotta ask: where exactly do our thoughts exist? Because if I was to get surgery today on my brain or something, and the surgeon made the incision on my skin, on my scalp, and began to peel the layers back, and all he saw was a pink glob of matter. There wouldn't be any thoughts, any feelings, any memories, anything.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the thoughts, our emotions? Where are they existing at?
So just like how you said, we have multiple bodies. We have a physical body, we have a mental body, and then we have a causal body, right? So the causal body essentially is it's an undifferentiated, formless bubble of consciousness. And then the astral body is how you color that body. So the formless individuation of consciousness. If I take anger and I'm angry all the time and I color it red and I color it red and I put all of these bad thoughts into it, that astral body is going to take the shape of all the vibrations that I've put onto it. And so essentially that's where our thoughts exist. Our thoughts exist on the astral plane. It exists on the mental plane. And when we and so on the physical plane, right, if you're wondering where our thoughts exist. So if you were to cut someone's skull open and you were to look at it neurologically, right, imagine a sheet of memory foam. Every time you touched it, it would leave a print on it. That's what thoughts do to our physical brain. Every time we think a thought, it leaves a physical imprint on our brain. And the more that we think this thought, the more that this groove or this pattern of neurological connections is starting to be imprinted on the brain. So essentially, our thoughts exist inside of mind. When you close your eyes and you get You get the sense of your body out of the way. It exists in that level of reality. So think of it like think of it like an onion, right? Think of it like an onion. Our thoughts exist on a different layer, but this different layer isn't separate, right? It's not outside, it's a part of the onion.
Insane. So, bro, you just started studying metaphysics and psychology and stuff 2 years ago. In that music video that we played, you didn't start tapping in yet, or where was your mindset at in that
I
video?
was so that in that video, that's where I was tapped in for. Well, we dropped that video in August, so July, June. Yeah, I had only been tapped in for 2 to 3 months, so that's why I wasn't tapped in long enough for it to completely take over my life. It was during that point to where it was like, damn, do I even want to like go make the video? Fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna get into it. It was like a lot of cognitive dissonance, a lot of back and forth within me. So I had like I had a, a deep understanding of the spiritual realm. Like at that point, I had done psychedelics a nice amount of times, more than five. I I had experiences, but I didn't actually have any sort of foundational knowledge to stand on.
Mhm. So, in those 2 years, it's all been self knowledge. Everything has been self taught for you.
Self-taught.
So, what type of books, what type of teachers would you point people in the direction of so they can raise their awareness?
So I would say that if you want to raise your awareness by looking at and listening to people, so someone I really like to listen to is people like Joe Dispenza, Jay Shetty, Andrew Huberman, Alan Watts, Frederick Nietzsche, just lots of psychologists, lots of doctors, scientists, philosophers, because it's listening to them that really allows my mind to, people often ask me, well, how do you even come up with these thoughts or come up with these opinions? Well, I thought about it for a really long time. You just haven't thought about it because you haven't even presented yourself with the opportunity to do so. So listen to those types of figures, and if you type in any of their names, there's going to be more people within that field that pop up too. So anyone in that field, and I'll say it again: Frederick Nietzsche, Jay Shetty, Andrew Huberman,
So,
um,
Dispenza.
uh, Joe Dispenza, Alvin Watts, and there's a lot more people too. Now, when it comes to the books I read books that are in these fields. I'll go on Google and I'll type in books about consciousness, books about psychology, books about astrology, books about philosophy. A couple of my favorites are the Tree of Life, Egyptian spirituality, why Buddhism is true, the Spectrum of Consciousness by Ken Wilber. Now that book is probably one of the best books that I could recommend. It's 600 and something pages. People like Oprah, Deepak Chopra, Joe Dispenza, lots of pioneers and famous people in the spiritual and scientific community. They were inspired by that book that was written, I believe, in the 80s. The Spectrums of Consciousness by Ken Wilber. They talk about the
In the
ego. They talk about
70s.
the 70s, yeah. So they talk about, they literally talk about how pure consciousness literally turns reality into reality. They talk about dualism and the different levels of dualism. They talk about us separating ourselves from the environment, which is the primary dualism. They talk about us separating our minds from our bodies. They talk about us separating our idea of ourselves, the dominant aspects of our personality, and then we go ahead and block off everything that we don't want, which is how the shadow was born. They talk about how,
Mm.
right, they talk about how consciousness is how mind, right? When you close your eyes, you can't tell how big your mind is and you can't tell what color your mind is. It's because your mind is simultaneously the entire universe. And this mind is the mind that every single organism, bugs, ants, dogs, this is called organismic consciousness. And what happens is that our thought processes slap different levels of consciousness over this to generate the experience of reality. They talk about biosocial bands, which is I literally cannot understand something if it's not spoken through the English language. That's a biosocial band. It's a level of conditioning put on my mind. So consciousness, it's literally like a guidebook of understanding God. So the Spectrum of Consciousness, a great read. Another book that I read, the Akashic Records. So what the Akashic Records explains, it explains, like I said, if we all share the same mind, where do our memories, where do our experiences go? It's to this place where all knowledge that will ever be experienced past and future, it exists here. It talks about the ego. You know, what is the ego? What is our purpose? What is karma? What is reincarnation? What is what we're supposed to be doing here? Another book that I read, the power of the subconscious mind. And so, or what's it called? It's something about the subconscious mind. It's by Neville Goddard. And so, man, there's infinite information to gain access to all of these different spiritual avenues. And if you
So
want me to like type up a list for you when we're off of here, bro, I'll do that.
facts. That'll be fine. We can drop that in the bio or something. But so it's essentially saying, or it sounds like that. If you study the mind, basically you're studying God.
Absolutely. Mind, God, their self, they're all simultaneous, synonymous.
Sheesh. So okay, and it came across my mind. So if studying the mind is basically studying God, and God is, or if the mind is represent of the all. You said the mind is connected to the entire universe. It's basically like the creator can't fit its entire mind in one organism. You feel me? So his thoughts, perspectives, and everything, we get a fraction of it. I think that's expressed through the zodiac. You know what I'm saying? There's 12.
Absolutely.
What were we saying?
I said absolutely, bro. Like I wasn't finna build on it. You just kind of gave me like a little mind blowing moment.
Yeah. It's like the zodiac basically represents the 12 aspects of the creator. And a lot of people say you can't condense the universe into just 12 aspects, but when you use it properly, you definitely see traits and telltale signs in each individual when they tell you their zodiac. You know what I'm saying? You can see the heavily emotions and reside more so in the water sign. You can see the quick temper is always going to be more so in Leos. You feel, I mean, not Leos, but in fire signs. You feel me? I was in the car one time with a female. She was telling me about how, yeah, she would be quick to fight. Da, da, da. I said, "Are you a fire sign?" She said, "I'm a Leo." She didn't know. But I said, "Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Makes sense. It's every time."
Right.
The air signs are going to be the more talkative ones. You feel me? It never fails. They might waver a so-so, but when you go to their moon sign, the answer will be right there. It's going to be relative to the element that in which that emotion aligns with. You feel me?
Right.
It never fails. So a lot of people also they try to critique it in saying that, oh, you don't know if the people who gave you the initial knowledge of the stars as to how you know they're right. Well, we're testing it in real time. You feel me?
Real
And
time.
it hasn't gone astray yet. I mean, if it wasn't true, the establishment they wouldn't push astrology so heavily in our day-to-day lives.
Right.
Every aspect of our day is astrological based. Our days of the week. Monday is the moon. What's today? Thursday. If you research Thursday, you will see that it's aligned with Jupiter. Okay, we have Friday, which is aligned with Venus. We have Saturn Day, which is aligned with obviously Saturn. Sunday, which is obviously aligned with the sun. Why is that?
7 days of the week and 7 planets in our solar system.
And 7 Hermetic principles,
7 hermetic principles.
7 deadly sins. You know, we could keep going and going. We could keep going and going.
I swear.
And why is that? You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
The principle of correspondence. The principle of correspondence, as above, so below.
Facts. And I like to tell people, correspondence and correlations are not coincidences.
Coincidences don't exist.
They don't exist.
They don't exist.
They don't exist. There's no such thing. Only the illusion thereof.
Right.
Only the illusion thereof. So
Right.
yeah, Johnique, you want to say anything before we sign out, fam?
High level conversation right here.
Cosmic convos for sure.
Man, cosmic conversation for sure. It was great to meet you, GMI. It was great to meet you, Johnny. I look forward to talking to y'all again, bro. We like
because I'm looking at the question list. We have certain things that I ain't even touch on that's gonna make perfect room for another conversation in the future. You feel me?
Right.
Definitely. You wanna say anything before we close out, fam?
Yeah, go ahead and if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, same name, lmoney.333. It's over here. Same TikTok, lmoney.333. My Facebook is Larry T. Williams III. It's a verified account. Just look for the blue check mark. Go ahead and follow GMI, bro. Follow Johnique. I support their page, their podcast, their interview platform, what they doing. Their next up. Peace and love to the guys. Thank y'all for having me on here.
Appreciate that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate everybody for tapping in. This has been another cosmic convo. You feel me? I'll see y'all next time. Peace.